Hi, my name is Adrianna. I am making crock pot mac and cheese. I have already started a pot of water with the macaroni and cheese, salt, and if you want to, you can add in vegetable oil so the macaroni does not stick. Here are the ingredients that are needed to make crock pot macaroni and cheese. You will need one 16-ounce package of macaroni, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil if needed to mix in with the macaroni so it doesn't stick, 1 13-ounce can of evaporated milk, 1/2 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of salt to mix in with the macaroni while it's boiling, 4 cups of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, and 1/2 cup of melted butter. Now, it says melted, but you can actually add it in, it would be better soft than melted, because then you have it all, it just looks better when it's just soft. And it looks like it's about done, so I just strained it a couple minutes ago, and it's about ready for everything to get mixed in. Now, I'm going to show you how to mix in everything, and here is the 13-ounce of evaporated milk, and I am pouring it in. I've never actually used evaporated milk before. I've actually used just regular milk, but you can actually, well, this recipe calls for evaporated milk. Okay, and now I'm going to add in 1 of the 1/2 cups of milk. Now I'm going to pour in 2 more 1/2 cups of milk, and because my cup was dirty. Okay, clear that. Okay, so now to add in the butter. Which it says that you only need 1. I had out 1 too many. But once again, just depending on how big your serving size is, you might have more butter or less butter. And when you're putting in the milk, you might want to go over something because if you like making messes. Like Mrs. Gilbert, yesterday she made those cookies, and she spilt brown sugar and flour everywhere, or all over her floor. Okay, now I just turned on the stove so that the butter will melt and so that it'll all mix together. Okay, and now I am going to add some cheese after the butter is melted. I'm just going to add in the last drops of the evaporated milk. I like to make sure that all of the ingredients are added so that so you don't mess it up while you're making it. And that's basically all you need to do. And I'm going to throw in all the cheese right now. Dropped a piece. Okay. And okay. Now it takes 2 bags of Kraft cheese just to make this, which is actually a lot of this cheese. Now, if you look on the bag, it says 2 cups, and that's in each bag. So we needed 4 for this recipe, so I just grabbed 2 bags. Okay, now I'm gonna stir this. It's actually really hard. Starting to melt, and do that. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit higher. Okay, and while you're waiting on that, you can put away all your stuff that you're not using anymore and all the stuff that you don't need. Okay, and I just put a little bit more cheese in here just a couple minutes ago while I was mixing that, and now I'm gonna go check on the macaroni. Now, when I said 16 ounces of macaroni, that can go either how much your family actually eats or how many people you have in your family. But for this recipe, I made 16 ounces. That was gross. Oh, and I forgot to mention at the beginning of my speech that you need to wash your hands before you do anything with cooking, because you never know what you have on your hands before cooking. I did actually twice. I washed them when I was done straining it and before I even made this. And I'm gonna wash them again after I get done cooking because of all this stuff that I'm getting on my hands right now. Ouch. Okay, and while that's melting, I am gonna clean up my mouth. Okay, so it's actually melting really fast now. Just letting you know, I am not stirring this and holding the computer at the same time. I'm having my assistant do this. And so, oh, we got to turn this down because it's starting to stick to the bottom. Okay, so it's it's about good enough to where we can dump it right into that crock pot. So I'm going to bring it on over to the crock pot right here. Okay, here we go. Now, doesn't this look so good? Okay. Okay, and before I mix it in, I'm going to carry the spoon over out to the counter so that it doesn't fall out when I'm putting it in. Okay, so basically all I'm gonna do is pour it right into the pot, which is perfect. Perfect size for this crock pot, and I didn't even think about that. Didn't even think about the size or anything. Okay, so now I'm gonna set this over here on this counter, and what I like to do is I like to mix in a little different cheese with this. So I'm just going to sprinkle this right over the top, and I like to do this. It's not it's recommended because it's good, but you don't have to do this. It's not part of the recipe, but I just like to add a little bit more cheese. And depending on how much cheese you put on this, you might be constipated for a couple days. Yeah. I just put like a bunch on the top, and that's about it. And so now I'm going to just like spread it all out, and and I am going to clean off this counter so that I can plug in the crock pot, and then we will see how it goes from there. Okay. So, okay, so we're just gonna leave that pot there, and we're gonna put this in here. Okay, so and then you might want to make sure that you shut off the burner when you're done with it, like I didn't. And you might want to make sure that when you stir it, that you don't get it on the burner, because if you do, it'll smell really burnt, and that's what it smells like in here right now. Okay, so now I'm going to carry over the crock pot, which hopefully is not hot. And it's kind of heavy, which it was lighter before. Okay, sorry, my assistant is making me laugh by telling me what to do. Okay, so, and by the way, my assistant is my mom, if you're wondering. Okay, so now we just put the lid on and throw away our trash, clean up all of our messes, wash our hands after we're done, and I hope you guys like it when you guys have this snack. It'll be ready in about 2 minutes, and 2 hours, and because it has to sit, and the cheese has to melt with it. And and when you're making this, you have to make sure in the crock pot, you make sure that you put in Pam original, so that so the cheese doesn't stick to it. And I recommend using a paper towel and just like kind of damping it with it, but you don't want it to dry it all up. And I hope you guys like it, and that's it. Thank you.